Yo, yo, yo! I'm back with the shenanigans, week 51. I did have a few trades, I think, and I'm gonna look into it. I ended up mostly backtesting, to be honest, but some trades showed up. So, as always, gonna start with last week. Looks like last week I only took two trades over here. What went well was I was really patient and no mistakes. That's awesome. And my results were minus 1.7, and same if I traded perfectly. That's nice. I'm gonna look at the week before. This was a ugly entry. I actually addressed it in the next video. I think it's kind of okay. This was C and V rules. Yeah, okay. This was not taking a clear MMB on a V. All right. Makes sense. Makes sense. Nothing really new. So yeah, week 51. I do have some trades here. Let's check it out. But before I do so, I want to check out these instructions once again. I haven't read them in a while, to be honest, because I felt like I have everything well ingrained already. But, there's nothing wrong with checking out your own rules every now and then. So the expectation is no trades today, no trades this week, and no trades this month. Yeah, this is all about patience, right? And honestly, like, I think it shows. It shows with the amount of trades that I'm taking, like two, three, two. Most of these I didn't even take. Like three of these I didn't take, so just one trade. I think it really shows that I'm being patient and I'm not trading any choppy markets. To be honest, I feel like it really sucks to aspire to become a live trader during these last couple of months. Like there hasn't been too much opportunity, and I would really like to go and trade live already, but I want to get out of the DD on the forward test, and if there's no trades, it's really hard to get out of. And all I can do is just be patient and continue taking good setups. So that's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, evaluate liquidity based on intended E time frame. Yeah, this was. I remember the problem here was that if I went too low and I would be like, okay, this is illiquid. Honestly, it does not matter. If the 10-second looks illiquid, but my entry is on the 1 minute, like who cares? Doesn't matter. Anyway, don't make mistakes. Yeah, 1 hour per week is 50 hour or 52 hour saved a year. That's more than I need for a living. Indeed, it's all about removing mistakes, removing blunders, and that's what I'm trying to do in this forward test. That's why I haven't jumped on live yet because I want to make 100% sure that I feel confident that my mistake rate is going to be fairly low. And so far, I've been doing some mistakes every now and then, so not quite ready yet. So focus on the rules, not the R. That's what I always do in my batch analysis. It's not about the result. It's about whether or not I can follow my rules. That's what it's all about. Capital preservation. Okay. Yeah. Rules force me into taking risk. This is all just different words about patience. Here's a little something about my laptop screen watch list. Yep, I haven't made a mistake since I wrote this. Look for trending markets on the 4 hour or daily. That's what I usually look for. Do not trade stage one, of course. Trade strong stage two react, of course. That's like all these technicals. Don't trade inconsistent moves. Just because there's a nice move coming out of a completely inconsistent market does not mean I should trade it, right? Like, I want to see some consistency. And if I'm already risk free on not just a crypto trade, any trade, I can take another. Or, yeah, these instructions feel like I have good experience with them already. Still working on the patience, of course, but generally I'm aware of all of this. So with that being said, let's go into Monday. And I know already that I haven't traded much. Like I would check out the markets in the morning, and if I saw that on the 1 hour, for example, it doesn't look good, I would just walk away. Maybe check again during New York. So here I was watching gold. So gold looks kind of nice weekly, really, really strong trend. Daily just kind of reaccumulated and is building itself back up again, breaking into new highs here. This is definitely something I want to follow. Momentum cycle on the daily already happening. EMA is rising. Very, very good market to follow on the low time frames. And same with silver, except that gold I can trade on the 10-second, silver I trade on the 1 minute. But yeah, very similar. Uh, Silver clearly leading. Like silver broke out of this reaccumulation already and moving higher. Gold is lagging behind a little bit, but I'm expecting something similar from gold. But yeah, This is beautiful. What a uh nice trending market. So yeah, only gold looks good and silver looking juicy. Yeah, and I end up actually taking a trade. Cool. So let's take a look here. This is it. So I have the 30-minute here. It doesn't really matter what my context is. It can be 30, 36, 60, 4 hour, whatever. So what we have here is we have an ongoing bullish market, right, that reaccumulates. As it reaccumulates, hello? Hello? Okay, okay. I needed to change my language. As it reaccumulates, it does have like some kind of stage one here, right? Maybe you could see this little pullback here as well and be like, okay, above this, it's bullish again. And so here it goes higher, reaccumulates, and continues higher. So this would be the first. This is the second pullback. So this is MMB2. Active momentum cycle, looking very good. Expectation is that price is going to break out of here and continue higher. So on the 6 minutes, what do I have? I have some kind of stage one over here. Price breaks out with very, very good momentum. Okay, and here it reaccumulates. As it reaccumulates, I look at this on the 1 minute already. Like here, this is where I draw in my supply line, or well, supply zone, sell wall, whatever you want to call it. And basically, I'm waiting for price to break above and pull back into the rising 1020 from where I can trade a double MB or a bounce, whatever. So here, price breaks out on a very nice, strong, momentous move, and then it breaks down again, goes sideways a little bit, goes higher, pulls back, and prints, I think, a beautiful, beautiful DMB. I really like this trade. I think it's perfect. So how do I manage? Actually, I don't manage at all. I just get tapped in, and I get instantly fucked up. So that's that. Like, one thing that I might not exactly like is this huge, huge dump. I would much rather see a pullback that is like flaggy, wavy, whatever. Like this is a little bit alarming, but I mean it's just a flush out, right? So the moment it starts building itself back up, it should be completely valid to trade it. Yeah, I think this was a good trade. Uh, I'm gonna write here big sell-off just to like pay attention to that, but overall, I think it was good. So what do we have here? I think the decision to take this trade was good. And I don't really see any mistakes necessarily. Like, yeah, maybe the C2 had a bit of a huge sell-off, maybe. Okay, so overall this trade was good. Just a single trade on gold before it failed, invalidated, nothing else. All right, let's go to Tuesday. A lot of news on Tuesday. All right, and I'm watching gold. Silver was ugly. Gold was actually moving, I believe, and I'm watching EU as well. Okay, so EU here. Okay, some kind of stage one here, little spring. This looks like an accumulation schematic. Boom, moves higher. Weekly bullish. Daily going sideways, but now showing some strength, moving higher. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how is this gonna? I already. Never mind. It once again looks bad. Actually, gold pump after New York Open and became interesting. Silver now lagging behind. Yeah, lagging behind on the low time frames, but I didn't take any trades. All right, so that's Tuesday. Wednesday, I didn't even trade. Yeah, nothing. That's all. So Wednesday was nothing. Thursday, some news, lots of news. Okay, and I'm watching UK 100 here. So UK 100, beautiful momentum cycle on the weekly. On the daily, we had a momentum cycle that flushed out and has built itself back up. Looking pretty good here, breaking higher. So if there's momentum in the market, I think I should definitely be taking that. So I do end up. Oh, I don't. I don't. It's a trade on UK 100, but I don't actually end up taking it. Why not? Didn't take this as it looks a bit weird. Okay, well, let's see what's happening. So we have some kind of stage one over here. We have a breakout, and then it falls down, loses its momentum cycle once again. So what I'm expecting immediately is some kind of stage one. On the 6 minute, I can see that beautifully, right? This is a beautiful schematic right here, like this whole thing. And price breaks higher, pulls back, just a tiny, tiny little bit below the EMAs. That's totally fine. And here breaks higher, pulls back into the rising 1020. So if I take a look at the 1 minute, okay, so we have a big move. Here it reaccumulates, puts in the side of strength, and here it creates this little DMB over here. Okay, so what am I thinking about that? hmm hmm Honestly, I think that's pretty good. Like, okay, so it reaccumulated quite a deeper flush, but from there we have a very strong momentous move that reaccumulates again and then it breaks higher. I actually think this is pretty nice. I didn't take it. Any reason why I didn't take it? Like anything particular? I don't know. I think this looks pretty decent, doesn't it? Mm. I guess what I should have done is I should have entered through here, honestly. Like that makes much more sense. Oh, I have the 10-second over here. Okay. So boop. This is not much of a breakout over here. I don't know. It would make much more sense to because so this is the reaccumulation, right? Okay, boop, and here it shows demand, and yeah. I should have entered here. Yeah. So this is the high that the initial demand prints. Now it reaccumulates, and now if it goes higher, that's when I should get tapped in. That's my confirmation, right? So yeah, I should have entered here. Probably gonna do that with just a text. Whoop, make it white. Should have entered here. All right, that would make much more sense. So yeah, good that I didn't take. That's nice. Good that I didn't take, and it would be a -1 anyway. So the trade itself was a mistake because the entry didn't make much sense. Yeah, it didn't meet rules indeed. So that's good that I didn't take it. Nice. Okay, so that's the one trade that I didn't take, and that's all. So coming in on Friday, done for the week, going to the gym at 16:20. Although UK 100 and UJ look decent, even silver looked decent, I believe. Yeah. That's all I have here. So let's see how it developed since then. Yeah, so here it's moving higher. That makes total sense and makes sense to follow it. Silver over here, I mean, yeah, just moving higher. If there's momentum, I will take it. And UJ weekly looks kind of bullish right now. On the daily, we had a beautiful momentum cycle higher, now reaccumulating and now moving out of the stage one and moving above this high. That makes a lot of sense to follow that. Okay, so I have some trades here. So let's check it out. There's another UK 100 trade here. So here's a 36-minute. Again, doesn't matter if it's 30, 60. Who really cares? What matters is I think it all started over here. So this is the first pullback. This is the second pullback. Now we are moving higher. And as long as there's an active momentum cycle here, I can trade it. And of course, I'm going to be looking for that bigger reaccumulation here to trade that higher as well as MMB3. But yeah, here we are, 6 minutes. This is so nice. This reminds me of that trade on silver, actually. And if I was stuck on the 1 minute, just on the 1 minute, yeah, this reminds me of silver so much. It reminds me of this trade over here, where there was a big move on the 6 minute. There was a beautiful MMB, and I didn't take it because on the 1 minute this looked so overextended, but it actually isn't. So yeah, that reminded me of that, and I was like, I need to make sure that I check the 6 minute, and if the 6 minute looks like a nice MMB, there's absolutely no reason that I wouldn't trade it. And yeah, so stage one, right, breaks out on huge fucking momentum, pulls back into the rising 1020. So what do we have here? I guess I can see that on the 10-second or even here, doesn't matter. Like the moment this build up, I want to see some kind of like selling come into it. I want to see demand being overpowered by supply for a moment, which happens over here, also over here with the little X here. So this is most certainly a liquidity grab, right? And here I'm simply looking for reignition, and this is not really reignition too much. Like maybe Maybe it could be if it went higher a little bit, then I could enter over here, for example. But it didn't, and like it creates a very obvious resistance over here. So I'm just waiting for price to break out higher. And as it does break out higher convincingly and reaccumulates again, I can set up a buy stop right over here. That makes total sense. Yes, to enter here makes total sense because if it wanted to redistribute or distribute, it would just take the liquidity like it did over here and it could fuck off, right? So what does it do? Is it this one? Let me check once again. Yes, it's this one. So was already away from the PC, but if I got tapped in, I would have reduced risk as price moved above here. I would reduce risk twice because this spread is like 20% of my stop loss, so that's quite a lot. And as it creates a new high and liquidates that, I move completely to risk free. And that would end up being a +5. Beautiful, beautiful win. And here we can see it on the 1 minute. This is perfect, in my opinion. We have a very strong stage 2. Selling comes in, right? We have a strong new high printed within that reaccumulation. Then it chops around, does something, but doesn't make a new low. So basically prints a higher low. And that's when I get tapped in. Beautiful, beautiful trade. Very nice. This trade was perfect. And yeah. Well, I wasn't trading, so I could not have taken it. That's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, this trade was really, really nice. Perfect. And yeah, I think there's going to be one more trade on UK because if we look at the 6 minute, right, even if we move higher here, there's going to be pullback 2 or MMB2, and I can definitely trade that. I could potentially even trade pullback 3 if I wanted to, but we'll see what happens. So there's another UK 100 trade over here. So we can see on the 6 minute exactly as I talked about, right? Big, big push. Comes back for MMB1 and now comes back for MMB2. Definitely tradable. I like it a lot. So here I am on the 1 minute and let's see what happens. So under 1 minute, this is a very, very nice stage 2, and here it reaccumulates. So we can see every time price comes like above this level or something, it gets pushed down, pushed, 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 pushed. It cannot move consistently above, but the moment it does move consistently above and reaccumulates above here, that's when I set up my buy stop, and that's the trade. So here on the 10-second, what I want to make sure is that this push higher. Honestly, I don't like this trade too much. I would have liked to see it go higher, like maybe something like this. That would be much, much nicer. But it was good enough. What I wanted to see on the 10-second here, that there's going to be a reaccumulation, which this is one of those moments where it happens. The moment it loses momentum like this and comes back to the bottom of the stage and creates these 1, 2, 3, 4 points. For me, this is already a stage 1 or a reaccumulation, so I can easily set up a buy stop above. So that's what I did. Let's see. I didn't take, was away, of course. So here, as it breaks higher, in that fractal structure printed, that's when I reduce risk first time, and then I reduce risk second time over here. Wait, 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 wait. Am I on the wrong trade? Yeah, I'm on the wrong trade. My bad. So yeah, here it doesn't really create any nice structure, so I simply wait for it to move a little bit higher, and here I feel like this is far enough for me to reduce risk, and then it creates one more high, and as it moves higher, I reduce risk completely. It continues higher to maybe like, I don't know, 3R or something, and then loses juice. So that was a pretty nice trade. I mean, it met all the rules. The one thing I don't like too much is if this was a little bit higher, that would be cool. Okay. This could be a bit higher. That's what I'm going to say. But overall, I think this trade was good. I'm going to give it a good. And the decision, well, yeah, it wasn't a mistake. I wasn't trading. So yeah, that's all and no reflection. Cool. So, good. Why did I put that -1 here? What am I doing? This trade. Okay, so I'm done with Friday. Let me go to analysis over here. See this week gallery. Okay, so the second trade, which is this, was it a mistake? Yes, it was, but yeah, okay, I see. So the trade itself was a mistake. Makes sense. So let's do that. Mistake. But I didn't take it, so it's all good. So this thingy now I can put over here, and these are the results. I actually don't know what the results are. So this was a minus 1.2. This would be a minus 1.2 as well. This would be a plus 4.8, right? Plus 4.8. Okay, and this would be a BE, so minus 0.2. Yo, minus 0.2. All right, there we are. So what went well? Once again, I'm going to praise my patience. Patience was on point. Those trades that I did take was one trade over here, and that was a very good trade. I like this trade, so that's okay. What went bad? Nothing. Nothing. I mean, life happened. I couldn't be at the PC to pick up this win, so nothing went bad. Everything was all right. So overall, my results are um, excuse me, there needs to be didn't take. Okay. So my results are minus 1.2. Had I traded perfectly, would be the same. So that's very nice. Gonna fill in week 52 here. Okay, nice. And yeah, I'm ready for next week. Did I end up drawing anything, or is there anything that I would like to coach myself on? Mm. Well, I've been testing a lot, doing a lot of back testing these days, and paying a lot of attention to fractality and how my entries look on different time frames. And I've been noticing some very interesting things, especially considering that I tend to enter a little bit later than Anton, either at the same time if it's a momentous setup that he would take, or a little bit later if it doesn't look too momentous just yet. But as I pay attention to where he enters and why, if I ask myself the questions like why would he enter so low and how can he enter so low, I'm really starting to realize that it's not that much about the E as it is about the V and the C, of course. So the reason why Anton manages to be so successful is that he waits for markets that are very, very obvious and clean on the C and the V. So he really likes to see some super, super clean breakout on the C before he even goes to the V. And then he trades just beautiful MMBs on the V, right? So what does a beautiful MMB actually look like? Well, he talks about that it's at least like usually it's like 3 to 5 candles. That's what he likes to see, and of course it's a very strong push that pulls back into the rising 1020. That's it. And when it comes to the entry itself, well, he literally just looks for initial demand, then it can chop around, and as long as it doesn't make a new low, he's willing to buy stop this, right? And yeah, that's what I have realized as well. So when I look at my setups that look like this, where I have the EMA, right? I have some kind of choppy, then it goes higher, and then it comes back here, and it does this, which is the ICI within the MMB or the DMB within the MMB, right? When I look at this on a lower time frame, like let's say an E micro or something, very often it's going to look like pop, 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 then it goes higher, and here it just kind of does its thing, whatever, as long as it doesn't like break down lower here, Anton is ready to buy stop this. So even if it does a little bit like this, it's totally fine. Like I would in the past be looking for equal symmetrical MMBs, and the moment like price would do this, I would no longer consider it. But honestly, there's not much of a point. Like, there is a reason why Anton does not include momentum cycles in his E. He has an entry cycle and he has a momentum cycle. And the entry cycle does not include momentum cycles, so he doesn't need to see momentum. And the reason for that is that, well, the bottoms of reaccumulations are reserved for chop, right? We expect stage one here. We expect an accumulation schematic happening here, right? And what is an accumulation schematic? It comes down, right? We have some kind of selling climax, some automatic rally, then we have some STs, STBs, whatever. But then we have a sign of strength, right? That's the MB1. And here, after the sign of strength, it can do all kinds of stuff, right? It can even create a spring in something. But essentially, what Anton is doing is he is buy stopping the sign of strength. That's what I have realized. He very often buy stops the sign of strength. As long as this low holds, or if it's a spring, which can be identified that it has a very strong reaction after the liquidity grab, he will still trade this. And yeah, I think I now understand it, and I want to trade this way as well because if I have a beautiful market on the C and the V, the E, as Anton says, we can just throw darts, right? But this is not a dart. This is such a sophisticated entry that is based on understanding of Wyckoff and accumulation. And back in the day, I remember when there were the old 1 to 5 sections, and there was a section for Wyckoff. Anton mentioned that you don't need to know all of this Wyckoff stuff and all of this labeling. And he created a simplification for this. And the simplification is simply a DMB, right? That's it, the DMB. And why is that? Because the DMB, the MB1 validation, is the sign of strength, right? It's going to be some kind of demand validation, like here. And the MB2 is simply by stopping the high that's created. That's the sign of strength. So that's what I've been paying attention to. And it's been going well. Like my back tests are really, really good. Like if we take a look into this, I have now around 100 trades, I think, and I have analyzed all of it. I haven't quite created the data connected to it yet, but I have a lot of like plus fives, lots of BEs, some minus ones every now and then. But in general, I am participating in really, really good markets. And still, this is a little bit crude, right? I'm taking even B tier setups with the specific reason that I want to also see why these B tier setups are not good for me. Like, I'm just testing. I'm not like trying to win here or anything like that. I just want to see and I want to test my theories, right? Nothing can go wrong. So I've been doing more backtesting than ever before, I think, and I've been having a lot of fun, especially because I'm not so confused. Like I have a very, very good system in my mind and a very consistent approach, and I'm just making minor refinements on a historical price that is extremely good, while not trading current price, which is pretty garbage, and just patiently waiting and honing my skill. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to talk about. But oh, one more thing. So I already had quite a bit of stuff figured out before Anton, but I decided to just delete all of it, to start fresh. Maybe that was a bit of an unnecessary mistake. But back in the day, what I would trade just one setup before MentFX, and that's the break and retest. So what I would see is some kind of stage one, right? And it would do, and then it would break out. And resistance becomes support, so to say, right? So I wanted to buy somewhere over here. Back in the day, I would trade like with a limit, with a stop over here. But eventually, I decided to want a confirmation in that area. So I would like mark up demand zones from which it came. And then I wanted to see a flagging pullback. This was like one of the most important things ever in my trading. A flagging or wavy, so to say, pullback where you can see those waves very, very clearly. And you can draw a containment line or a diagonal trend line, whatever you want to call it. I would draw two specific lines. I would draw this one, and I would draw a line from the last wave high. And I wanted to see price break out not just the line, the diagonal, but also the horizontal. So when I would draw this in, very often what would happen is something like this. I would call this market shenanigans. That's not a breakout, it's just a liquidity grab. And it would be going sideways here, for example, right? And then eventually it would break out. And as it breaks out, it will create the high that I can then buy stop. So here I will go to a lower time frame and I would like to see a reaccumulation, so some kind of lows liquidated. That would allow me to set my buy stop and I would enter here. And honestly, that's a beautiful, beautiful entry schematic. It's really, really nice. Like especially, well, if like I wanted to refer back to the sign of strength here, right? Because maybe you would argue that this is the sign of strength, but no, 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 no. The sign of strength needs to be pretty clear. Like it cannot just peekaboo above some high. It really needs to go. But if this went, for example, all the way to here and then reaccumulated here somehow, I would definitely buy stop here as well. So putting all of this together and remembering how I used to have a pretty good idea of what I want to trade, and I had just one super, super specific setup that I would trade, I already had quite a bit of it figured out. But now that I can combine it with MentaFX, especially with the higher time frame stuff, like with the momentum cycles on the C and the V, and also implementing a little bit of supply and demand in my C and my V in the higher, and not being so strict on the E and just uh, understanding the movement of the highs and the lows and entering after reaccumulations and all of that. I think I'm having a beautiful, beautiful system on my hands, and I plan on continuing to test quite a bit more. Like I'm expecting myself to get another couple hundred trades for sure. And once the markets get good, I mean, my edge is going to be so refined. I still want to get out of the forward test properly, right? Oh, by the way, I need to write down that there is another minus 1.2 over here. Okay, so once I put all of that together, I think it's going to be awesome. Can't wait for it. By the way, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to add it as a drawing to this week. Yep. So that's that. Not the worst week. Like just that one trade, which I think was pretty good. All right, I think that's it. 30-minute video. Peace out.